Hello. In this video, I read out the Japanese folktales in English. I would be happy if you could press the channel subscription and thumbs up now. Let's begin. Once upon a time, in a certain place, there lived an old man and his grandmother. One day, while the grandfather was working in his field, an old raccoon appeared from the mountain behind the house. Not only did it destroy the things in the field that the grandfather had worked so hard to create, it started throwing stones and earth at the grandfather. The grandfather got angry and chased after it, but it quickly ran away. After a while, it came back, and continued to cause mischief. The grandfather was also fed up, so he set a trap, and one day, the raccoon finally got caught in it. The grandfather jumped for joy. "Oh, what a good boy. I caught him at last," so he tied up the raccoon's legs, and carried him home. Then she hung him from the beams of the temple and told the old woman, "Please tie the tanuki up so that he doesn't escape, and have the tanuki jigs ready by the time I get back to the temple." With that, she went out into the fields again. Below, where the tanuki was tied up and hanging, the old woman brought out the millstone and started pounding wheat. After a while, she said, "I'm so tired," and wiped her sweat off. Then the tanuki, who had been hanging obediently up until that point, called out to her from above, "Hello, old lady. If you get tired, I'll help you out a little. In return, please untie this rope." "How could you possibly help me? If I untied the rope, instead of helping you, you'd just run away." "No, I'm already caught like this, so why should I let you go again?" "Well, just try letting you down." The old lady was so persistent and pestering that she took the tanuki's request seriously, untied the rope and let him down. The tanuki then rubbed his tied-up arms and legs, saying, "Oh, dear." Then, saying, "Well, let me help you," he took the old woman's pestle and, pretending to pound wheat, suddenly dropped it from under her roof. Before he could scream, the old woman rolled her eyes, fell over, and died. The tanuki quickly cooked the old woman's food, made an old woman's pestle instead of the tanuki pestle, and disguised himself as the old woman. He sat in front of the door with a straight face, waiting for the old man to return. In the evening, the old man, who had no idea what was going on, thought to himself, "I can eat tanuki pestle tonight," and hurried home, smiling to himself. Then, as if she had been waiting any longer, the old tanuki woman said, "Oh, grandfather, please come back. I've been making tanuki jiru for a while now." "Oh, my, I see. That's a great thing." And as he said that, he immediately sat down in front of the table. Then, in the old tanuki woman's kitchen, he said, "This is delicious, delicious." He slapped the drum, and got a second serving of old tanuki jiru, and ate it with gusto. Seeing this, the old tanuki woman couldn't help but laugh. HMPH. The tanuki showed the tanuki's face in a laughing voice. "Grandpa, look at the bones under the skewer," said the tanuki. And then he stuck out his big tail, and ran off from the back entrance. The old man was so shocked that he was dejected. He then took the old woman's bone under the bamboo pole and ran away. Then, "Grandpa, Grandpa, what's wrong?" Then came the white rabbit from the mountain in the back, who lived in the mountain. "Oh, it's you, Rabbit. Please come. Please listen. I had a terrible experience," the old man said, and told him the whole story. The rabbit was very upset, and said reassuringly, "Oh, that was a terrible thing. But I'll definitely get rid of my sworn enemy, so don't worry." The old man cried tears of joy and said, "Oh, please, I'm really so frustrated." "Don't worry. Tomorrow I'll invite the tanuki out right away, and I'll give him a terrible experience. Wait for a while. The rabbit went in, and then went back. Then, since the tanuki had run away from the old man's house, he had been feeling scared, and had stayed in his hole without going out anywhere. Then one day, the rabbit put a sickle on his shoulder, and purposely went to the hole where the tanuki was hiding, and with the sickle out he repeatedly ate the sickle. Then, while he was borrowing the sickle, he took out the crab meat he had brought in his bag, and ate it heartily. The tanuki heard the sound, and came out of the hole. Rabbit, rabbit, what are you eating so deliciously? Only chestnuts. Can you give me some? I'll give them to you, but carry half of this straw to the other mountain. The tanuki wanted the chestnuts, so he had no choice but to put the straw on his back, and stand up ahead and start walking. When he reached the other mountain, he turned around and asked, Rabbit, rabbit, can you give me some chestnuts? Yes, I'll give them to you. When we get to the other mountain. Having no choice, the tanuki stood up ahead again and started walking. Eventually, when they reached the other mountain, the tanuki turned around and asked, Rabbit, rabbit, can you give me a kachiguri? Yes, I'll give it to you, but please go to the other mountain as well. I'll definitely give it to you next time. There was no other way, so the tanuki stood ahead again, and this time he wanted to reach the other mountain as quickly as possible, and walked briskly without looking back. The rabbit took the time to take out a firestone from his bosom and lit a fire with a clack, clack sound. The tanuki was puzzled. Rabbit, rabbit, what does clack, clack mean? Because this mountain is a clacking mountain. Oh, I see, said the tanuki, and started walking again. Before long, the fire the rabbit had started spread to the grass on the raccoon's back, and it began to burn brightly. The raccoon was again puzzled, and asked, Rabbit, rabbit, what does burning mean? Because that mountain over there is a burnt mountain. Oh, I see. While the raccoon was saying this, the fire had already spread rapidly up his back. The raccoon cried, it's hot, help me, and ran off as fast as he could, but a mountain wind blew from behind, making the fire even bigger. The raccoon cried loudly, rolled around in agony, and finally managed to shake off the grass and run into his hole. The rabbit deliberately shouted loudly, Oh, my goodness. It's a rudder. It's a rudder. And went home. The next day, the rabbit rubbed chili peppers into the rice cake to make a medicine, and brought it back to visit the tanuki. The tanuki had severe burns all over his back, and was rolling around in the pitch-black hole, groaning and grunting. Mr. Tanuki, Mr. Tanuki, you really had a terrible experience yesterday. Yes, you really did have a terrible experience. How can I heal this terrible burn? Yes, so, it's so painful that I've made and brought you in medicine that's most effective for burns. Is that so? That's very kind of you. Let me have you apply it right away. And so the tanuki showed his back, which was blistered and red and blistered, and the rabbit smeared the chili paste all over it. Then his back became hot again, as if it had caught fire, and he rolled around in his hole, crying, It hurts, it hurts. The rabbit saw this and smiled. Don't worry, Tanuki-san, it'll only be tingly at first. It'll get better soon, so just bear with me for a little while. And then he went home. 4 or 5 days passed. One day, while the rabbit was talking to himself, I wonder, what's up with that tanuki? I'll take him out to the sea next time and give him a hard time. Then suddenly the tanuki came to see him. Oh my, Tanuki-san, have your burns healed yet? Yes, I'm feeling much better now. That's great. Shall we go out somewhere else then? I'm sick of the mountains. Well, then let's leave the mountains and go to the sea instead. You can catch fish in the sea. I see, the sea sounds fun. So, the rabbit and the tanuki went out to the sea together. When the rabbit made a wooden boat, the tanuki was jealous and imitated him, making a boat out of clay. When the boat was finished, the rabbit got on the wooden boat. The tanuki got on the earth boat. When they rowed separately out to sea, they looked at the sea with curiosity, exclaiming, "What good weather, and what a beautiful sight," but the rabbit said, "There are no fish here yet. Let's row further out. Now, let's see who can row faster." The tanuki said, Okay, that'll be fun." So they called out 1, 2, 3, and started rowing. The rabbit clapped the boat vigorously. "How about it? The wooden boat is light and fast." Then the tanuki also became determined to win, and pounded the boat, saying, "Don't worry. The earth's boat is heavy and strong." After a while, the water gradually seeped in and the earth's boat began to collapse. "Oh, something's terrible. The boat is starting to break." The tanuki was shocked and started to make a big fuss. "Oh, sink, help me." The rabbit looked at the tanuki's panic with amusement, and said, "Serves you right. You tricked and killed the old woman, and this is your revenge for giving the old man a bastard." The tanuki said, "I won't do that again, so please help me," and bowed to the rabbit. Soon the boat started to collapse, and before long the tanuki sank. That's that.